If you need a loan, what type of loan should you get? Loans can be powerful tools or expensive traps. Maybe you're considering a loan for a car, a business, education, or even consolidation of debt. But what's the right type of loan for your specific situation? In this video, I'll break down the main types of loans, when each one makes sense, and how to avoid costly mistakes that a lot of people make when they are borrowing. So I guess step one would be know why you're borrowing. Before you even think about the type of loan, you need to be absolutely clear on the purpose. And there are a few questions you can ask yourself. Is this loan for something essential? Is it helping me build long-term value? Or is it just funding lifestyle spending? Because here's the truth. The purpose of the loan determines the type of loan you should get, not the other way around. Borrowing for a house, education, or business is very different than borrowing for a holiday or a new phone or bag or whatever, it is that you are, if it's more of a lifestyle choice. And in this section 2, the main types of loans, I want to kind of explain them in more detail for you. So let's walk through the most common types of loans and when they make sense. So the first would be, let's cover personal loans. Now, these are usually unsecured. Now, what that means is, it means that if you default, they can, none of your assets are at risk. So, yeah, that's an important point to keep in mind. They're usually fixed interest and, fixed repayment. These would be best, in my opinion, for things like, if you really need to get one, for like medical expenses, home repairs, or consolidation of things like high interest credit cards, which I've done a previous video on. Definitely avoid them if it's for like lifestyle or impulse spending. Just save your money and buy whatever it is you want. You'll be a lot better off and a lot less stressed out if you take that approach. The next type of loan would be a secured loan. Now, a secured loan is backed by collateral. And what do I mean by that? It means it's backed by something like your car, your home, or maybe some other kind of assets that you hold. Generally, these will have lower interest rates. Again, this always depends on the economic climate at the time. And they're best for large purchases, or if you are confident in your ability to repay them. A warning though, if you fail to pay, the lender can and most likely will take the asset that the loan is secured against. So this is something that you really need to be careful if you are considering. The third would be mortgage stroke home loans, whether that's equity release or just a straight up mortgage. And these are, again, usually more long term. They will have very strict approval processes, and they're best for buying, property or, some kind of meaningful long-term debt. The fourth would be a credit line or like a line of credit, and that's what I would define as flexible borrowing. The best way to describe that would be only pay interest on what you use, and these are normally for like businesses, business cash flow, maybe renovations or like emergencies. And I would say, avoid these if you're likely to overspend because the flexibility with them can and very often becomes a trap. The fifth one we're covering would be credit cards. Now, I like to use credit cards. I pay them off every month because you get a lot of benefits with them, whether it be hotel points, air miles, yada yada. But you just have to set a reminder to pay them off in full each month, and it's actually that will reflect well on your credit rating. Credit cards, very high interest. You'll never really see a credit card that's of low interest. They are useful, like I said, only if paid in full monthly, and they're best for like short-term purchases that you can clear immediately. Definitely avoid these for anything like long-term. And the sixth would be student loans. These are essential in some cases. It's a means, the only means some people have of being able to gain an education. So you can't really argue with that. Depending on the country, they usually have lower interest, but not always. So it's really important to look into the details of that. They usually have much longer repayment schedules, and it will depend on what your earnings are when you start to repay. There's a lot more detail to them. Maybe if we get feedback, I'll do a more in-depth video on each one of these loans. But they're best for education, and they can be beneficial because they can really increase your earning power over time. Yeah. So the next area I would like to cover is how to choose the right loan. And I've created a checklist, and it's like, I've covered this in a previous video. The first point would be to compare the interest rate, the APR. The APR shows the true annual cost of the loan, and lower APR means less money wasted. The second point would be, look at the fees and penalties. This is really important, right? Because many loans have origination fees, like when you set them up, early repayment penalties, because obviously the banks want to lock you into this because they make money from the interest. So if you want to pay off early, there can and very often is a fee for that. Make sure you check out any kind of like insurance add-ons. Always read the fine print. Fees can turn a good deal into a really pricey one, and without you really knowing it, unless you do your due diligence. It can be very tempting just to take the kind of first loan that you get offered. And the third point would be, understand the risk level. A secured loan has better rates, but higher consequences. Unsecured loans are safer, but often more expensive. And it's not like they're without risk. If you don't pay them off, you can damage your credit rating. And also the fourth point would be match the loan length to the purchase. So, if it's a 30-year loan for a house, fine. You can always refinance and whatnot. If it's a 5-year loan for a car, reasonable. You need a car if you need to get to work, etc., pick up your kids, whatever that may be. A 5-year loan for a holiday, bad idea. You're not going to be going on holiday again for like another 5 years, so just save your money and do it that way. Debt should never outlive the thing you're buying, would be the wisdom that I would share with you on that. And I guess that comes to the fifth point, was be honest about your budget. Can you comfortably afford the monthly repayments without adjusting your lifestyle, or worse, taking on new debt to service debt? If not, the loan's too big. So, just to wrap up, choosing the right type of loan can give you years of stress. I'll reword that. Choosing the right type of loan can save you years of stress and thousands in interest. And always match the loan to your goal. Understand the risks, compare the true costs, and borrow strategically, not emotionally. So yeah, if this video helped, hit the like button, hit the subscribe for more insights, and also feel free to drop a comment. What type of loan are you considering right now, if you are, and what's your biggest concerns about borrowing? You can also drop us an email at info@expatmoneychat. Appreciate you taking the time to watch. Thank you. Cheers.